Welcome to This Is Not Legal Advice. I am your host, TINLA, and today we are doing one of our deck reviews. And this is a very, very special one, so I need everybody to pay attention. And I am confident this message will reach the people it is intended to reach. If you guys remember, I did a special presentation on a theme deck that I had gotten with the Garbage Pail Kids. And, I just like these different decks with different themes. I have a whole bunch of Disney ones, but this is the United States of Tarot. And I honestly didn't think I would use this deck for readings because it was more of a collector's item, but I thought we had come to a point where it might be of interest to my viewers. So for the people this meant to reach, I want to go over and talk about some comparisons between, and again, as I always do, between this deck and the traditional Rider-Waite Tarot. And so here we have the Eight of Wands. Now, the Eight of Wands is a card of communication, fast moving communication. And the thing about tarot is that we get messages from spirit. I know I feel messages from spirit, but some people who don't believe in spirit will not understand them or maybe not believe that they're truthful. And so that makes them all the more important for those watching and those who are getting the message. We can see here, by the way, with the Eight of Wands, not only is it fast moving communication, but it is also like the wands are going different directions, right? And to me, that says that there could be any number of ways that things could go. And communications are going to be very important in that process. Now, when I say that process, what I'm talking about is this Three of Swords energy. And I'd like to show here now the Three of Swords in the normal, Rider-Waite tarot is a broken heart, right, with these three swords in it. And in this deck, it is a card that represents a lot of things that are going on right now. And so it's very timely. And that's the beauty of these theme decks is they can really speak to current events and things that maybe relate to us on more of a topical level. And so, there are a lot of us who feel this Three of Swords energy, even more poignantly when we look at a card like this, where we see, again, that broken heart energy and some pretty egregious things going on there in the background. It's more elaborate than just this Three of Swords, as it were. So if that card speaks to you, again, I think that this deck may have some valuable information. Okay, we have the Six of Swords. Oh, excuse me. I didn't want to do the Six of Swords just yet. But we will get there. We will get there. All right. Next, we actually have the Five of Pentacles, right? So in the Five of Pentacles energy, this is something that in the Rider-Waite Tarot is people outside of a church feeling kind of out in the cold. And I know that there are a lot of people right now that are also feeling that way. And that's why the Five of Pentacles in this deck really exemplifies that feeling of being out in the cold, perhaps of, being without and wanting some things in life that maybe aren't available to you. And I feel like there are a lot of people where this is a very important card that speaks to them. And so I wanted to highlight that as well. Now, the Hanged Man is always an interesting card because it can be read one of two ways, right? It can mean that there's a delay, that things are going very slowly, but it can also mean that there's a change in perspective. So I think when we look at the card in this deck, we have, very important public figure sitting on a bench waiting, but also we have, this change in perspective here that is very important. And so there are a lot of people who, again, this would speak to very deeply, particularly maybe in Dallas. But this is again very symbolic of what this time period is that we're living in, and so may speak to um, again, the purpose of my review of this deck. All right. Now, again, further exemplifying the purpose of my review, let me get these all straightened out. There we go. Maybe that looks better. That looks way better. Okay, so what we have here is the Emperor, and the Emperor is divine masculine energy. Normally, it can represent that, but it can also represent somebody who is very rigid, very bound to tradition, immobile, maybe somebody who is, again, very, very, it's ruled by Ares, which is that Mars energy or that planet of the god in Greek mythology. And so, here we have a very similar energy with, this card representing the emperor. There's somebody who represents the interest in being an emperor and that energy of Aries that we just talked about here in the traditional emperor card. And so, it's very important when you get a card like that to do some things. And so that's why we have like the tower next, right? Because the tower is a card of change. It's a card of dramatic shifts. And some people are scared when they get the tower in a reading because, people aren't necessarily ready for a change and they perhaps are used to the status quo. And that's okay. Sometimes we have to go back to the hangman card. We go back, the tower is number 16, the hangman is number 12. So sometimes we have to go back, but we will get there. And here we can see another representation of the tower. And, we have this symbolism again over here. We can really see the lightning striking it and things, happening there that would indicate very substantial change, something that would rock the world of a lot of people. So let me just go ahead and slide this. I have one more, and I did kind of preview it before. It's this Six of Swords energy. Now, the Six of Swords represents, moving on to calmer waters, and so it's a very hopeful card. It's a card of, you know, getting past troubled times and again getting to a place of safety, which is very important, particularly nowadays. But we also have this card here, and we can see very important figure here, Harriet Tubman, and she's also going to calmer waters that we can uh, really respect and take similar action today and get to that place of peace and calm and help other people, with their journey to peace and calm. And sometimes, in order to do that, we have to circle back to this Eight of Wands communication energy. And so this was just a deck I thought, again, was very, very timely and important to show what is, how these things compare, these cards compare because again people they may not take tarot seriously. I do. And spirit, I think, can provide some guidance, some communication if we're willing to listen. One final point, I am launching soon the different tiers of membership on my website, which is tinlatarot.com. It's going to be the membership tiers. Right now we have associate, we have paralegal, and we have shareholder. But what I'm thinking about doing is creating a intern tier, which would be free for those who want to sign up for a membership, where perhaps I can use this deck again with more targeted messages. And if that's something that you think you'd be interested in, please drop the word intern in the comment section. That will help get this message out to more people who may need to see it. And also, a heart, a like, a share, a subscribe, whatever you can do. I'm confident this message will get to people who need it. And I think we're going to have some fast moving communications to deal with some of these situations and can use tarot as a means of really trying to understand how life is going and what we can always do to improve our lives and the lives of others, with the Six of Swords energy. So